Now let's set up all these exercises by talking about how we're going to use the metronome. And if you're like me, you hear the word metronome and you kind of groan a little bit, but bear with me. This is going to change the way we practice these exercises. We're going to use a metronome to work on progressive overload, and here's what I mean by that. Let's say we start an exercise and we're able to do it at 50 beats a minute. That's awesome. Now we're going to push it, once we're comfortable with that, to 60 and 70 and 80 and 90, and then we're at 100, which of course is double 50. Very cool. Now what we're going to do is drop back down to 50 and then practice it double time. Okay? So now we're playing with our metronome back where we started, but we're playing it twice as fast. If you're playing riffs and songs, you probably know what alternate picking is. But if we're just getting into the idea of starting to play a little quicker, this might be a new concept for some of us. When we first learn guitar, we know to take our picking hand and move down with it, whether it's chords or single notes. Sometimes in a strumming pattern, we'll move down and up. Now we're taking that down and up idea and moving it into single notes. So instead of picking something down every single time, now we're alternating notes down, up, down, up. This immediately, right off the bat, gives us twice the speed. Right? We can only go so fast, moving only down. If we can make use of picking both ways, all of a sudden we have a lot more speed. We're going to start with a simple spider walking warm-up. Now, for most of these techniques, we're going to need to put our fingers into a box. And by a box, I mean 4 fingers on a 4-fret box. But that box can be anywhere on the neck. In fact, sometimes we'll move it in the middle of an exercise. So for this one right here, we're going to start from the 3rd fret. So I'll put my first finger on the 3rd fret, second finger on the 2nd fret, third finger on the 3rd fret, and the pinky on the 4th fret. And that will be my little box right there. I'm not going to change where my fingers go for now. I'm just going to take a string and I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, again using alternate picking. Now we can use this one from the thickest string to the thinnest string and then back down. So I'm going to start at string number 6 and I'm going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up the neck, and I'm going to work on the alternate picking and keeping my fingers nice and low. When I get to the top, I'm going to roll it back down, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now for the advanced variation of this, we're going to mix up the fret so it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4. We can do this using maybe a shape like 1, 3, 2, 4. We can pick whatever shape we want, but let's look at 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 3, 2, 4. 1, 3, 2, 4. If we want to shift up from there, we can do that as well. Let's move on to the next exercise, which has to do with doubled triplets. Now, here we're taking our box and we're picking 3 notes out of that box to walk up with. Now we're going to play each string 2 times, and we have a few shapes that we can do here. I could play 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's start with 1, 3, 4, and I'm going to play each string 2 times. Using 3 notes instead of 4 notes forces us to do the shape both ways, starting down, up, down, and up, down, up. Now, the advanced variation here is a lot of fun to play. We're taking all 4 shapes, we're going to play them on each string before we move to the next string, and we're going to keep expanding them up. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Now we have to do that on every string coming up and down. Now, coming back down, we're reversing 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Let's try that quickly together. That is a hard one, but really satisfying when you finally get it right. Okay, so we're getting more comfortable with odd patterns in our left hand and alternate picking in our right hand. Now we need to get more comfortable jumping from string to string. So what we're going to do is take the original spider exercise and we're going to start sharing it between 2 strings. As a really basic exercise, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4. But this time, instead of moving 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm now sharing the string every other note, 6 and 5, 6 and 5. And my next time will be 5 and 4, 5 and 4. Now the intermediate version is to extend that box and add in a 5th note. So maybe here I want to do 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, again alternating between strings. Now here we're talking about the mode shuffler. And if you don't know your modes or you're not familiar with some of the shapes, that's okay. Go and learn them and then come back to this lesson. Now, the mode shuffler is when we kind of jump around a mode. It helps us both memorize the shapes, which is super helpful. And then, of course, challenges our fretting hand and our picking hand. For the basic method, we're walking up a fret by 2 steps and then taking 1 step back and up by 2 and down by 1. Something like this. 1, 2, back. Another way I like to do that basic variation is to not play the note in between and just jump up 2 steps and back by 1. This makes it a little more challenging on the picking hand to go back and forth so quickly. Now we're taking a mode shape and we're working up and down but jumping strings. So we're moving 2 strings up, 1 string back, 2 strings up. So for example, I would take the Ionian mode and I would play up the 6th string to the 4th string, back to the 5th string to the 3rd string, back to the 4th string to the 2nd string, back to the 3rd string to the 1st string. So it would sound like this. And then back down. That one is great for practicing gaps, jumping over a string, and picking gaps as well. All right, We've got our technique down, we've got exercises, we've burned our forearm. Now it's time to cool down a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to stretch our fingers in a way that's specific to our instrument. I'm going to take all 4 fingers and I'm going to place them on the first string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach 1 finger at a time all the way back to the 6th string. I'm going to extend it far as I can and pull it back, and I'm going to do that 10 to 15 times for each finger. So with my first finger, I'll reach forward and reach back 10 times. And this is not only working out my finger dexterity, but it's also going to help how quickly I change things like chords or notes. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the middle finger. Then I'm going to shift it to the 3rd finger. Finally, I'm going to do it with my pinky finger. When we've got this down, or we've at least done it, we can shift our fingers to the 2nd string and then maybe try the same thing. We don't want to overdo this on our fingers, so maybe just stick with 1st and 2nd string. If you're doing both strings, do it 10 times. If you're doing only 1 string, you can do it up to 15 times. But just once a day on this exercise is great, and we've kind of loosened up a lot of the tendons that are ready to play even faster. Having these exercises and being able to add them to our practice routine is great, but how do we actually know that they're helping? Well, like we mentioned at the beginning of this course, playing with a metronome is huge, but we don't play with a metronome to stay where we're at with the metronome. I would say grab a piece of paper and a pen, or open a notes book on your device and start marking down how quickly you played at what date. And then set some goals for yourself. Say, okay, in 1 week, I want to raise the speed of this exercise by maybe 5 beats per minute, or even 7, go 1 beat per minute faster every day. Well, by the end of the month, if you've done that, you should be 30 to 31 beats per minute faster on an exercise, which is a huge gap. So not only do we want to write down goals to speed metronomes up, but we want to look back so we can kind of chuckle at ourselves and say, oh my goodness, I used to be able to play that exercise at 80 beats per minute. Now look at me, I've got it going at 111 beats per minute. You've made it to the end of the course. Congratulations. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at jacob@lamblessons.com. I love hearing from you guys, and I'll see you there. Happy playing.